Sir would talk about localization topics that we have proposed this year for MDes by Research, and also share his thoughts about where localization is headed in the future. So, with that, over to you, sir.
Okay, I'm not going to do all of that because we have had a fantastic talk and I don't want to spoil the taste. Okay, I'm going to just do a very, very small introduction to a topic related to localization. So, and it's always challenging to actually talk about something after we have heard a very nice talk. And so, Sumaya's talk was very excellent. So, I don't want to really go into many things. But actually, okay, so before I share my screen, actually, let me actually just talk with this book first. Uh, so, what Sunaina actually showed today is something that has been that is being a response after I would say computers started talking to us in Indian languages, right? Literally, in some sense. Okay, and which is fantastic. So I really, this is a fantastic work that is happening to make AI systems actually talk to us in our meaningfully in our own languages. However, on the contrary, or in counterbalance, uh, for what last 50, 60 years that we have been using different technology products in India, we have gotten used to using them in English. So I want you to, any of you to raise your hand if, let us say, your operating system is not in English right now. Okay, so there are many people on Zoom. And I can see a lot of people smiling in the conference room three, and all of their operating systems are in English. Okay, let me leave because most of the operating systems are actually not well localized for Indian languages. Okay, so let us say browsers. Browsers are relatively better localized for Indian languages. Okay. So do you have a browser which is set to an Indian language locale, like Bengali, Hindi, Marathi, Gujarati, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, any Indian language locale? Probably not. So there I can raise my hand, okay, because my browsers are continuously set to Indian language locales. Okay. And this causes another set of problems. Okay. Third question. Raise your hand if your phone is set to your mother tongue. Okay, so again, your phone is also not set to your mother tongue. I am not even getting into products like TVs and projectors and other public infrastructure that we use. We are so used to not using them. I mean, oh, I can see Rintaro there. Rintaro, you should have raised your hand. So, so right, because he's from Japan, and I'm sure. So your is your computer in Japanese? What does he say? I mean, his picture has gone from the video. Okay, so this is a uniquely Indian subcontinent problem, I might say, that we've actually not been used to doing technology. Yeah, I can say, yeah, the entire is a computer set in Japanese. Sorry, I didn't hear what he said. Oh, now it's frozen. Or am I frozen? No, no. I think,
I
Yeah,
think
so
no, no.
now it's back. Now it's back.
Currently, it's
So
yeah.
we had a technical hiccup. Yeah, now it's
uh,
back.
yeah,
Apologies.
Rintaro, sorry, third time. So is your computer in Japanese?
Yeah, his computer is in Japanese. Yeah.
Computer is in Japanese, browser is in Japanese, and phone is also in Japanese, right? Fantastic. So, okay. So that's just shows. I mean, and this you can do in any context outside India, and usually you can expect this to be the answer, but it is not. So it is very, very uniquely an Indian problem, I would argue. Okay. And because most of our higher education is in English, we actually are not even sensitive to this as a problem, actually. Okay. And so if I offer this, I'm offering this topic for MDes by research. And I'll talk a little bit about MDes by research separately. But I'm offering this topic with a little bit of, trepidation that maybe nobody will take this topic because people don't think this is an important problem. Okay. So, and in fact, even in IDC, there has been relatively very little work, which I'll briefly share right now. But so this is a kind of a problem that I'm going to talk about. Okay. But before I sort of go ahead, and I'm not going to take a lot of time, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I'll probably take maybe 7 or 8 minutes unless there are more questions at the end. Okay. So I'm going to quickly share my screen. So those who don't know, those who are not familiar with what is MDes by research, if you go to the IDC website, let me hide my Zoom stuff here. Uh, okay. If you see so if you go to IDC website, let me start from the first page. And if you go into academics and MDes by research, you will find an announcement there of MDes by research topics for 2026-2028 intake. So, just a minute about MDes by research. This is a relatively new now, 1.5-year-old program that we have launched in IDC School of Design. It is a program that is between a typical master MDes program and a PhD program, so it kind of overlaps both to some extent. It is relatively very light on course load and very heavy on research work. So a typical MDes student in most Indian universities will spend about 2.5 semesters doing coursework and about 1.5 semesters doing research or projects. A typical MDes by research student spends equivalent to about 1 semester in doing coursework and 3 semesters doing research work. So I'll double the research content basically, effectively. Okay, so that's just that. And the way the admissions work is every year we announce a set of topics for 2026 intake for the next year's intake. So, for example, this is the list of topics offered for this year's intake. There are 19 of them, out of which one of them, topic 2, is about localization for Indian languages. So, I'm going to just talk about that one over here. Okay. So, this is a Google Doc available online. You can take a look at it. Okay. So, so basically, the idea is that while we have seen a lot of technology adoption, we still look at something to be used primarily in English, and we rarely switch on a TV that has a Indian language interface or any other product that we use typically is not in our own languages, basically. And this may be okay for university educated people, but there is a large majority of Indian population which is not, and this becomes a challenge for them. Okay, so I mean these were the same tests that I suggested you to do right now, and so yeah, I mean one of the things that I would suggest you to do, for example, is sorry, set your phone in set your phone in your mother tongue. I hope Sharwar, that's what Sharwar is doing, and uh, and then keep it there for how long can you keep, basically, so can you keep it there like that for at least 1 hour, and if you can keep it there for a year, that is really very nice. Okay, but there is really very poor localization in of phones. Okay, and it is not the case that we do not prefer to communicate in our own languages. I mean, if you look at any other form of languages, like newspaper readership or YouTube channel usage or anything else, basically, Indian languages perform. I mean, out of the top 100 most subscribed YouTube channels, 33 are in Indian languages, not in English, not in Indian English, in Indian languages, and none of these are English. I think there is one of them which is English channel. All others are in other Indian languages uh, predominantly. Okay. All right. So in IDC, we've had a little bit of work. Some of our oldest work is from 2010, and I saw Nikhil in the earlier call. I don't know if he's still around, but this is a paper that he wrote. There's a link from here. You can look at it. So basically, what it shows about principles of simplifying translation of Marathi terms on mobile phones. Remember, this is a paper that was published in 2010. So the phones at that time looked like this is a prototype, but these are the kind of phones. This is also a prototype, by the way, but these are the kind of phones that we used for localizing the terms, and we identified a bunch of principles. The paper is publicly available. I will therefore not go into it. A second, two sets of projects. One by Kashish Panjwani, who was an MDes communication design student. Another by Lakshya Ranwan, who was a BDes MDes dual degree student. They actually did two very interesting projects. Never really resulted in papers, but their project reports outcome is available. The first one was by Kashish, and she worked on identifying social media terminologies. So just to give you, I mean, you can read the paper and uh, but how and look at the method and so on. But if you think about, English words like follow or subscribe or become a member or and so on. They are overlapping terms. Okay, and now try to think of equivalent terms in your mother tongue, and then see how many of your friends who speak that language can understand what those words mean. Okay, you can do the same thing for the three typical words that are used at the end of YouTube videos: like, share, and subscribe. Okay, so what does like mean in an Indian language? Okay, and one of the problems, I mean, English, it turns out to be is a very unsuitable language for designing your first version of UI in, which is what all of us do, by the way. English is extremely unsuitable. And the one particular reason why it is unsuitable is because there is this very high fungibility in English between nouns and verbs. Okay, so when we say like, okay, is it a noun or is it a verb? For example, in social media, we use the word like. Is that used as a noun or is that used as a verb? Okay, so it is used as both, and that is a particular fungibility available in English, but it is not available in other languages. And then when you have to localize, you have to reinterpret: is it being used as a noun or is it being used as a verb? Because it means different things and it communicates different things. Okay, so anyway, so Kashish did this for social media. Laksha did the same thing for payment applications, UPI applications basically. And both did some things. Both projects I would say are not complete. So if you want to really do these again, I would encourage you to do that. If you want to do that in a different language, definitely that needs to be done as well. Okay, so that and so that's about it. I mean, I don't really have a lot more to share. So that's a topic available. If you are interested in doing MDes by research, kindly consider that topic and apply for MDes by research and solve at least one of those problems. Basically. Thank you very much. If there are any questions, I would like to answer them, or I am done basically in 7 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Do we have any questions?
Why is localization is only about languages? There can be many other
Very
things
good
other
question.
than.
Yeah, it is not. In fact, the earlier talk was all about something else. In fact, not just only about languages. So it's actually
Mm.
a very, very big problem. And it is about culture, it is about localization of various forms, it could be about exercise, it could be
Ah, it
about
can be.
food, it could be about many, many other things. Correct. So this is about this particular project, research project is about translation and language translation. Uh, but it could be about many other things. Yes, possibly,
I,
definitely.
IDC has postdoc.
IDC, yes, IDC does have postdoc.
We
It
have.
is a very, yes, we don't have postdocs because PhDs in design are in great demand. But if you want to do a postdoc, you're most welcome.
Oh, very good. I didn't know this. This is news.
Yes, all of you. You're
Yes.
welcome to do a postdoc with us in
एंड ये
IDC.
पीएचडी करनी पड़ेगी पर सो
पहले PhD करना
Avni,
पड़ेगा. PhD
obviously.
भी है.
सेवरल स्टेप्स आर
अवनी PhD भी है. अगर PhD है तो PhD.
Postdoc is after PhD, Avni. Don't you
आई
dare.
नो दैट्स माय पॉइंट actually, I would like to ask something.
Sure.
Yes, please.
Okay. Hi, my name is Reva. So what do you
Hi.
think about localization in sign languages?
Yeah.
When we cater to Indian sign languages.
Yes. So that is also I believe that in some sense, Indian Sign Language is already a language of its own. In the
Hmm.
sense, okay, firstly, I should start by saying that I don't really understand much about sign languages. I don't
Okay.
have too much of experience with sign languages, but what I believe and what I understand is that Indians, like sign languages, must be treated as languages by themselves, right? And so, in that sense, they are already languages. Uh, the and particularly in spoken communication, having sign language, simultaneous sign language translation is quite considered therefore very important. Okay. What I believe is that we are talking about and we are talking about translation of textual material. Like you see my name here in Zoom, and it says Aniruddha Doshi in English in the Roman script, but it could also say in my own language. or your own language. So that would be the kind of thing that we are talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, I am not aware of whether there are people who are literate, let's say, or are speakers or whatever, actors of sign languages,
Okay.
and but are not familiar with any other written script. I don't know if there are how many people are there like that. But if there are people like that, then definitely we should take that up as so my name should also be spelled out. It should be possible to let us say Zoom buys some AI model, and let
Yeah.
us say if a local in Zoom is say Marathi, even if Nitika and Pallavi and IDC conference and everybody else have written their names in English, it translates it for Marathi, for me in Marathi. And somebody sets
Mhm.
their local as sign, then Zoom should be able to also translate that in sign.
Yeah, I mean, there can be an avatar for it. I don't know, just thinking out loud. But if you
Yeah.
talk about the communities, there is almost 63 million people who are deaf or hard of hearing right now in India. The community is quite large, and out of those communities, if I would say sign language speakers, around 82% of those are sign language speakers.
Correct. But out of those 82%, okay, so one of the things with sign language, as I understand it, it's a temporal language, like a spoken language, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a time free, like textual content is time free, or even visual
Hmm.
content, static visuals are time free. Okay.
Yeah.
Uh, uh, I don't know if there is any work in sign languages which actually converts it into static information, basically, like
Hmm.
maybe a set of gestures for that are visible, uh, like you can see them as a piece of text, basically. I don't
Yeah.
know if that kind of work is there, but if it is there, or if somebody wants to do that work, that would also be some meaningful work to do, because you might want to then say that I only speak sign language. Uh, I don't know if there are people who only speak sign language, or even if it is a good idea to do that. I don't have enough knowledge to be able to make that call right now. But yeah, if sign was a written language in some script, then we should also think about sign language in
Okay.
terms of localization.
Yeah. Thank you.
Uh,
Yeah, do you have a question? Yeah.
Hello, sir. I'm Rosni Sawa from Triple IT Pune. And my question
Hi.
is, how do we ensure that languages, while translating a particular term, how do we ensure that consistency maintains between languages?
Sorry, I didn't get the last part of your question. Last,
How
can
do
you just
we
repeat it?
make sure the consistency of the meaning? So, example for follow. So, how do we make sure it's consistent between all the languages that if we have an application and we want it to be incorporating a bunch of languages, not just one language?
That's a very good question. It is in some sense, a central question, a question central to localization. Okay,
Hmm.
and central, but I would actually change that question a little bit. Okay,
Okay.
so when we say, I mean, just like what Sunaina presented, if you start, you create an LLM which is first created in English, and then I want to sort of also support other languages, it never really works very well. Okay, it always has its own roots in English, right? Similarly, if you start by designing an interface in English and then try to translate it to other languages, it will always struggle. So I will actually not look at it as a translation exercise or a consistency building exercise at all. I would look at it as a problem from scratch, potentially. So if I was creating, let's say, Instagram from scratch today, and I wanted to do it in Hindi, then what kind of terminology would I put for the concept of follow? And I will actually, to the extent possible, not even use the word follow to begin with. Okay. And then we will go about doing that. It's a not easy task, actually. Okay. A lot of people think that, oh, you take the word and you translate it. Actually, I don't know how good your Hindi is. But in my exercise app, in Nifit, no, what is it called? Not Nifit, sorry, Zep Life. In Zep Life, there is a uh, option called doing freestyle uh, exercise. Okay, well, you are just going to do some exercise at home, so maybe dumbbells or yoga or something like that. So it's called freestyle exercise. and it has been AI generated, translated as Vinamulya Kriyakala. And I will leave it to people to figure out what that really means. It means something different, right? We should not do that. We should actually not then, in that sense, translate words. We should redesign the interface in that language, basically. Okay, so that's an approach to localization that is used very commonly. Okay, but there could be other approaches that we can discover, we can find about what will make local, because look, globalization is reality, and therefore there is the need for localization. Okay, so we cannot design every product in every geography originally, right? So we definitely need to localize. We definitely need to use Zoom, for example, or YouTube, or we need to use all these tools that we are using, because then that is the power. I mean, otherwise these tools will become extremely expensive, right? However, these tools need to be localized so that they make sense and they are meaningful and they are usable by a large number of people.
Thank you, sir.
Also, yeah, so, and there is a difference. She mentioned, I wanted to say one other thing. She mentioned avatar, but there is also a different thing called avatar, which is a different idea. So, okay. So, on that nice note, we can stop maybe. So, I'm done. Thank you very much. I hope to see you, some of you at least doing, one of you at least doing this ended by research topic. Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for taking time out from a bit busy schedule today. And yeah, with that, I'm afraid we have reached the end of the session. So any other questions, you could reach out to sir through email, perhaps. Yeah, thank you so much for attending, and thank you to both our speakers. And this is SM Sakai Student Chapter IIT Bombay signing off. Thank you so much. See you
I
next
must
time.
say one thing before we sign off. I'm going to wear this new cap that I have because what have you ordered? What snacks have you ordered?
We have got sandwiches.
Okay, so the sandwiches today are sponsored by the HCI Professionals Association of India. I'm wearing this cap because I am the director for membership. So please become members. Thank you very much. Bye.
Please become members. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank
Thank
you again.
you. Thanks,
Thank you.
Charvari and Pramit. Very nicely organizing as usual. Yeah.
Thank you everyone
Thank
for
you.
organizing this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye.